If you watch enough World War II movies, you'd think World War II was an elegant chess match. Maybe, not every time. War could be depressing, upsetting, and just a bunch of exhausted guys making spectacularly unhinged decisions that somehow actually worked.
Jones, let's go in.
But Sarge, he's got machine gun.
You think I am blind, Private?
No, sir. But...
Listen, soldier. Wars are won by guts, not by guns.
Grenade!
What the fuck am I even doing here?
On a serious note though, today we are going to talk about the US Navy's tactical deployment of root vegetables. The US Army aggressively defending Europe with bouncy castles, and a 200-foot warship that literally put on a leaf suit and pretended to be a bush. The year is 1942, the Pacific Theater. The Japanese Empire is aggressively expanding, and they are absolutely demolishing the Allied fleets in the Java Sea. Most of the Dutch Navy has been sunk, captured, or is currently resting comfortably at the bottom of the ocean. Which brings us to the HNLMS Abraham Crijnssen. Built in the 1930s, the Abraham Crijnssen was the third of 8 Jan van Amstel-class minesweepers. It was painfully slow, basically a sitting duck just waiting for the Imperial Japanese Navy to show up.
All right, boys, the Japanese fleet has us completely surrounded. They have battleships, heavy cruisers, and air superiority. We have a top speed of 15 knots and a broken radio. Does anyone have a brilliant idea?
Sir, we could politely ask them to let us go.
Anyone else?
Maybe, sir. We could make a run for Australia.
Did you miss the part where our ship goes 15 knots? We'd be blown to smithereens before we cleared the harbour.
What if we just turn the ship into an island?
I'm listening.
Now, normally, pitching the idea of turning a 180-foot steel warship into a tropical island... Wait, where the hell is the ship? Let me give more close view. Yep, there it is. Now, where were we? Right, turning ship into tropical island. Now, this idea could be a one-way ticket to the brig, but desperate times call for desperate measures, right? So the crew just parked next to the nearest island and went full lumberjack on a chunk of the jungle.
Willem, I cannot do this anymore. Didn't anyone consider the option of asking them nicely to let us go?
They dragged hundreds of trees onto the deck. They arranged branches over the guns. They literally terraformed a steel warship. When the dust settled, they stepped back, stared at their floating pile of shrubbery, and thought,
It's flawless.
But here is the craziest part. The plan wasn't just to hide, it was to escape, which meant this island had to move. So the crew adopted the world's most stressful game of red light, green light. They only sailed at the dead of night. The absolute second the sun started to come up, they parked right next to an actual island, turned off the engines, and prayed nobody looked too closely. One afternoon, a massive Japanese patrol ship sailed right past them.
Sir, I don't remember there being a small, oddly rectangular island right there on the map.
Squawk! I am a bird! Squawk!
The map is probably outdated. Keep sailing.
After 8 excruciating days of playing the dangerous game of red light, green light with Japanese Navy, the Abraham Crijnssen successfully escaped the Java Sea. On March 15th, 1942, they arrived in Geraldton, Western Australia.
Geraldton Harbour. This is the Dutch minesweeper, HNLMS Abraham Crijnssen, requesting permission to dock. Over.
Repeat that, mate. You're a what?
The Australians were probably very confused as to why a moving pile of heavy bush was requesting permission to dock.
Crikey, mate. That's a bloody nice shrubbery you got there.
It is April 1943, the Pacific Ocean. Enter the USS O'Bannon, a Fletcher-class destroyer armed to the teeth with torpedoes, depth charges, and 5-inch guns. It was a floating fortress of cutting-edge military technology. Now, when I say cutting-edge military technology, I am talking about highly effective SG surface search radar. This allowed the O'Bannon to see the submarine at 7,000 yards through the pitch-black night. The Japanese, on the other hand, was relying entirely on human lookouts. At this stage in the war, Japanese submarines often lacked surface radar or possessed very rudimentary sets. They had to rely on men scanning the dark horizon with binoculars. Late one night, the O'Bannon was on patrol near the Solomon Islands when they stumbled directly across a Japanese submarine, the RO-34, just chilling on the surface.
Sir, the new high-tech beatbot machine is picking up a surface target 7,000 yards out.
Could be Japanese submarine. Cut the lights. We are going dark.
A few moments later.
Sir, positive identification on Japanese submarine RO-34, 1,000 yards out.
Ram them.
A few moments later.
Sir, distance 200 yards out.
Captain, what if she is a mine layer?
Wait a second. What if it's a trap? What if it is carrying explosive mines? Abort! Abort! Hard left rudder!
Captain McDonald's immediate instinct was to ram the submarine and strike a fatal blow. Now, ramming was a highly effective and common tactic used by destroyers to slice through the thin pressure hulls of enemy submarines. However, McDonald suddenly hesitated. In the dark, he realized the submarine was larger than expected and might actually be a mine layer. The O'Bannon narrowly missed crashing into the RO-34. The sharp turn positioned the massive American destroyer directly parallel to the Japanese submarine. One sailor saw few Japanese sailors just chilling on the surface of submarine.
They are too close. Our guns won't lower.
Wake up! It's the Americans!
What do we do now?
Have anyone seen potatoes coming down here?
That's it. Potatoes! Throw them potatoes!
It was pitch black, and the Japanese thought, are those grenades? They panicked and throw those grenades back. This bizarre distraction bought the O'Bannon the exact amount of time it needed to fire the actual guns. The story became a nationwide sensation, and the Association of Potato Growers of Maine even sent a bronze plaque to the ship to honor their potato victory. The O'Bannon went on to become one of the most decorated ships of World War II. For years after the war, Commander Donald McDonald, the captain of the O'Bannon during the engagement, was hounded by reporters and historians asking for the true story of the potato victory. According to popular military historian John Wukovitz, McDonald simultaneously dropped depth charges and ordered his 40mm and 20mm guns to open fire. He explained exactly how the potato grenade rumor started. The ship's cook remarked to McDonald that he thought he could have thrown potatoes at the boat. They were that close to each other.
Do you believe that the potato grenade version would have happened? Let me know in the comment section below.
The spring, 1945. Allied invasion have pushed Germans all the way back to the Rhine River. It was the only last natural barrier into the heart of Germany. The US 9th Army needed to cross it, but there is a problem. The Germans were heavily fortified on the other side, waiting for them. Crossing that river could be suicide mission for the Allied forces.
Mother of God. Sir, the Americans have thousands of men and hundreds of tanks just across the river. I saw them. Their armor is invincible.
They are planning for the invasion from south. Move all units towards south. Quick!
Sir, they are attacking from north.
Impossible.
Maybe it's possible? Enter the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, better known as the Ghost Army. Their mission was simple but absolutely insane. Go to the front lines of Europe and pretend to be a massive, heavily armed American tank division to scare the Germans away from the real troops. They didn't have real tanks. They had the tanks equivalent of bouncy castles. The Ghost Army deployed hundreds of inflatable rubber tanks, fake wooden artillery cannons. From a mile away, it looked like a terrifying, unstoppable armored division. Up close, it is just a hoax. The idea for the Ghost Army was heavily inspired from Operation Bertram by British Army during the Second Battle of El Alamein in 1942. A British officer named Dudley Clark used fake tanks made of palm frond hurdles to completely bamboozle the German army at the Battle of El Alamein. Colonel Billy Harris and Major Ralph Ingersoll, the two American military planners stationed in London, studied Clark's work. They pitched the idea to the top brass.
What do you say? Seems like a plan to me.
And top brass loved it. The 23rd Headquarters Special Troops were officially born. They had sound engineers blast pre-recorded audio of massive tank treads, engines, and marching soldiers out of giant speakers that could be heard up to 15 miles away. They even had actors jump on the radios to fake transmissions about non-existent attack. These theatrical acts made Germans bought it completely. They consistently diverted massive panzer divisions away from vulnerable Allied units to go fight a bunch of art students armed with boom boxes and rubber balloons. It is estimated the Ghost Army saved up to 30,000 Allied lives, proving once and for all that the pin, or in this case the bicycle pump, is mightier than the sword. It's 1943. The Allies need to invade Sicily to take back Europe. The problem? The Nazis were anticipating the attack. So the British intelligence needed to convince Hitler they were actually going to attack Greece. Why Greece, you ask? Well, my good sir, Hitler was already paranoid that Greece is vulnerable because it shielded his primary source of oil in Ploiesti, Romania. But how do you trick a paranoid dictator into moving his entire army? You use a dead guy as a messenger. You might be thinking, how did they come up with such idea? Right? You see, in 1939, at the very beginning of the war, the British Director of Naval Intelligence, Admiral John Godfrey, issued a document known as the Trout Memo. It compared wartime deception to fly fishing, tricking the enemy into biting a fake lure. While issued under Godfrey's name, the memo was actually drafted by his personal assistant, Ian Fleming. Yes, you heard that right, the man who would later create James Bond. In fact, Godfrey served as the real-life inspiration for Bond's boss, M. The Trout Memo contained a list of 54 different ideas for deceiving the Axis powers. Idea number 28 proposed a very specific trick. A corpse dressed as an airman with dispatchers in his pockets could be dropped on the coast, supposedly from a parachute that has failed. Fleming openly admitted in the memo that he hadn't come up with the idea himself. He had stolen it from an obscure 1930s detective novel written by Basil Thompson, a former intelligence officer. In Thompson's book, a forged document is found with a dead body to mislead the police. Fleming simply scaled the idea up to a global war.
Prime Minister, sir, the plan is simple. We find a dead body, we dress him up as an officer, we handcuff a briefcase containing fake top-secret invasion plans to his wrist, and we drop him off from the plane on the coast of Spain, supposedly from a parachute that has failed.
Brilliant. Do it.
British intelligence officers Charles Cholmondeley and Ewan Montague were tasked to deceive German officials into believing that the Allied invasion of southern Europe would be not Sicily, but in Greece. They found the body of a homeless man named Glyndor Michael in London, who took his own life by taking rat poison and completely reinvented him. They gave him a fake name, Major William Martin. But they didn't just give him a name, they gave him an entire backstory. They filled his pockets with pocket litter. They gave him a fake ID card, theater tickets from the week before, a receipt for a diamond ring, an angry letter from his bank manager about an overdraft, and a love letter from his fake fiancée, Pam. They dumped Major Martin off the coast of Spain. Except they didn't dump him by plane, but through a submarine. Yes, Ewan Montague, the naval intelligence officer co-leading the operation, knew that German pathologists were thorough. If they dropped a body from a plane to fake a parachute failure, the corpse would need to have massive internal injuries from the impact, which our Major Martin wouldn't have. Furthermore, if they tried to fake a plane crash, the Germans would launch an extensive search for the wreckage of the aircraft, which obviously wouldn't exist. A drowning victim floating ashore over the ocean was much easier to fake and left less physical evidence to investigate. Spain was officially neutral, but notoriously crawling with Nazi spies. British knew that these classified documents would eventually land into Nazis' hands.
Greece! I knew it!
All because the German war machine received the most devastating blow delivered by a guy who had already been dead for 2 weeks.
Well, that's all for today. If you want more historical chaos with a hint of theatrical flair, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.